Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Humans Project. My name is Julia Grin, and this project is geared toward helping people share their story. It is about sharing your voice and helping yourself heal and helping others heal. And today I will be speaking with Lauren. She is a warrior, to say the least. She is a widowed mom of 4 beautiful children. She works for a major airline, and she is a senior cause entrepreneur for One Hope Wine, which is a beautiful cause. So, Lauren, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I'm so
Thank you.
excited to have you. I know your time is limited with 3 jobs and 4 kids, so I greatly appreciate you doing this. And hopefully we'll be able to make a difference in other people's lives. And I just want to tell you, you are extremely inspirational. I've been following your social media, and you are such a warrior. And truly, truly, it is an honor. I'm blessed to even have you on here. And I know that this is going to be moving and so inspiring for anybody and everyone who watches it. So first and foremost, if you can just briefly introduce yourself real quick, and then let's get right into it. Just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay. Thank you for that amazing introduction, by the way. But so my journey ever since I was little, you dream about having, a family and getting married and having a house. And life doesn't always go the way we plan it. So what I did, I was able to be married, have kids, get the house, and everything didn't really go as planned in the picture perfect world we paint for ourselves. It got to the point where it just became a roller coaster, as a lot of us experience, and you don't realize how many ups and downs there are until you're actually going through it. And no matter how much you try to figure it out or explain everything away, there's always like something that happens that makes you stop and have to rethink what you're going to do next. And sometimes you get stuck on the same roller coaster and you're going around and around, and you have to step off and reassess. And I had to do that a couple of times, and I don't know where to go from here. I guess I realized that I had to admit to myself that I was in a marriage with domestic violence, and it was hard to digest that because you never think it was going to be you. And I was in love, and I love him, and I loved him, and it just was a shock to have to admit that to myself because I was in such denial, and I kept explaining everything away until I used to just pack up the kids and we used to just go. And it doesn't always have to be violent. It could be emotional abuse as well. But I used to just pack up my kids and go spend the weekend at my dad and stepmom's house. And it got to the point where my stepmother said to me, we know you love us and we know you will visit us always, but it's gotten to the point where I know you're not here to visit us. You're here to escape your own reality. And when you're ready, she said that, they'll be there for me and whatever I need, no judgment. And I was like, no, you're crazy. I'm like, of course I'm here to visit you, but I took that home and I digested it. And after a while, I took the kids to Florida to visit family. And down there, my great Aunt Maureen said to me, random, just random conversations that you have with family. And she's just like, you only get peace 2 times, and once is in your home and the other time is in your grave. Make sure you get it while you're living. And that stuck with me too. And then when I came home and I realized something had to change, so I reached out and got help, and tried to get me and my husband help. And from there, um, it was the unknown, where you don't know where it's going to take you. And I had always hoped and dreamed in my heart that we'd come full circle and heal together. And so he went into programs to, help him sort things out. And I was taking care of the kids and working, and he was taking care of the kids on the weekends. And then just a few short months later, maybe about 3 months later, um, he died by suicide. And it was just something that irrevocably changed our lives. And we had no idea, of course we would stop, anybody would stop anybody from doing that if they knew. And it's just been extremely challenging to not fall into this dark place and stay there. And my sister told me, it's fine that you're in this dark place right now. Just don't unpack and stay here. And I said, I'm really fighting hard not to, So through a lot of reading and a lot of self-reflection and forgiveness, and a lot of my village helping me a lot with the kids and everything. And even my kids being so resilient, they're amazing. And I told them as much as I could, age appropriately. And we really got through it together as a family unit. And even though they're so young, my oldest was 6 at the time. My youngest was about 18 months. But they were still like the most insightful little humans to help me just get through a day sometimes, and bring me a glass of water, the littlest task they can do. They felt like they were helping so much, and they had no idea how much they were really helping me. And it just, through all of that, we still do things. Like, I miss him so much, and I just, keep him alive with his memories, the good times that we had. I remind the kids all the time. We have a little book we keep of memories, and they each have a picture book, actually, like I made for them in their Easter baskets, their first Easter. So they have like their own little photo albums of pictures of just them and their daddy. So they take them with them when they want to, and put it in their nightstand when they want to take it out. But so we keep his memory alive, and he still lives through our hearts, as I tell the kids that he's always with them and us. And we had to choose if we were going to stay in our house or if we were going to move. And I asked them, my 6-year-old and younger crew, what should I do? Because everybody in my family is telling me, don't do anything the first year, and just stay, don't make any decisions, any huge decisions in the first year of grief. And talk about life being a roller coaster. Grief is a roller coaster you can't get off of. So that's something that you have to get used to, the highs and the lows and the waves crashing and knocking you over, to being able to withstand the wave and let it crash against you. And you wind up still standing, and then you stand there shocked, like, how did that not knock me over? I'm still going. And it's just like you realize that it just doesn't go away. It just gets bearable, all the pain that you're going through. And I was determined to, you know, figure out as a family what we should do moving forward. And the kids, of course, they wanted to stay, but we needed a bigger house. So I went to the bank and I tried to figure out what to do, what I could do. And so I refinanced the house and I was able to pretty much rebuild it from the sill plates up with a lot of help from my village. And I had an amazing contractor and workers that worked nonstop and got us back in our house. This was all within the past, like right before the quarantine. We finally moved back home that October prior and to quarantine. So it was really perfect timing for us to move back home and be here. And now we have enough space for our 4 kids to grow because they're going to be giants like their dad. And now we have the ceiling space and the bedrooms so they can all grow up here if they want to, or if life leads us somewhere else, we can move on somewhere else. But it's definitely been an adventure, and so many people tell me they don't know how I do it. They say so many things like, "Oh, if I were you, I couldn't do this. I don't know how you do it," and I would just give up. And or it's just like I don't even know what to say. And then people say that they're sorry and they don't know what to do and how can they help, or they volunteer to help, but I don't know what jobs to give anybody. You feel responsible to do it all on your own, and you don't realize how much there is to do. And it's so hard to ask for help when everything, even growing up, asking for help is a big deal. So you just want to be able to feel like, or show people that you're capable of doing everything on your own without asking for help. And even in my marriage, it took me a long time to ask for any help because I thought this was just marriage. Some marriages go through hard times and everything's okay. And ours was so fun and spontaneous and exciting. And then it was really bad, and it would go back and forth and ebb and flow. And I just kept going with the flow and trying to make things okay, and until things weren't okay anymore for consistently. And it was really hard to come out and be honest with myself about that. And as much as I wanted like marriage counseling, that wasn't an option that was agreed upon at the time until it was too late. And then everything felt like it was too late. And to pick up my own pieces and keep going was, and still is, not easy, but it's just like a choice you make every day. And some days I don't get far, but I still do something. And then I start over the next day, because the beautiful thing about life is the sun will still rise tomorrow and you still have another chance to do something,
Absolutely. I'm going to just give you like a moment to breathe. Thank you so, so much for sharing all of that. It's definitely a lot that you have been through. You've had me tearing up back from when I was just looking at some of the posts that you were posting. So needless to say, I've been tearing up this whole time. But this is part of our process. We are raw and vulnerable and emotional in the hopes of really, truly trying to help ourselves and others. And I just want to tell you that there's like a light shining down behind you. I don't know if you have like one of those skylights, but there's like a light literally shining behind you the entire time. And so I want to say that you truly are like a beacon. and you really are like a light for so many people. You probably don't even realize it. And I love what you said about some days, you know, you get up and you don't get very far, you know, and that's okay. So you kind of like give yourself that space, and you it sounds like you've gotten to a place where you forgave yourself, which I think it takes a really long time for many people, and many people never forgive themselves. They carry these traumas around, you know, thinking that it's their fault. So it's amazing that you've been able to really kind of, you know, get out of all of this. And I think you're out of the darkness. And the darkness really is a mindset. So if you tell yourself that you're there, you're just going to stay there. And if you try to tell yourself, everything is about the inner voice. So if you try to tell yourself you're out of it, which I can see that you pretty much are out of it, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have days where you miss him. It doesn't mean you're not going to have days where the kids might be driving you a little bit crazy. We all have days like that. It just means that you've seen the light and you are moving toward it, and you've consciously made an effort to forgive yourself and accept yourself. And what, if you can give any advice, I guess this question is going to be twofold, because you've been through two very substantial traumas. And so, like, what advice would you give to somebody who may be going through a domestic violence situation right now? And of course, because of COVID, it's very hard right now for people, you know, to have an escape and to have an out, you know, to go to a friend's house, to even want to, you know, deal with the police and the legal system right now, which half of it is shut down anyway. Everything is slow right now. So, like, what advice would you give to somebody who's coping with that right now?
I would tell them to look at themselves in the mirror, and as if they're their own friend, as if they're their only best friend. And what would you tell your friend? And if they were in your situation, would you tell them to continue to stay, or would you tell them to try to make an exit plan? The exit plan was key, you know, and that was something that you're so terrified to do something, but you need to know your rights and what you're allowed to do within your limits. You have rights. You are a human being. You deserve to be treated with worth and respect, as everybody does. And if you're not receiving that when you're asking for it, and you're not getting what you need out of your relationship, then you need to look outside, from the outside in, and like treat yourself like you're your own best friend, and start making a plan of what to do. And sometimes that can solve the problems in itself, just talking about it, and everything comes to the surface, and then you can sort it out that way. And sometimes the relationship won't survive, and then sometimes it will, and it heals it, and then you're stronger. But if it doesn't survive, then it's okay. You can move on, and there's so many other humans that are worthy and respectful and meant for you out there, that even just new friendships and everything, you meet so many new people along the way of the journey that's never ending, because you don't want your journey to end until it's God's plan, you know?
Absolutely.
You don't want to take it
Absolutely.
out of his hands.
Completely agree. And I love that. Thank you for that. And tell me a little bit about, like, I have a friend, he's going to be featured on the blog as well, who has recently suffered the suicide of his son. So what advice would you give to anybody who has recently gone through something like that?
If they don't know already, I hope they know that it's never anybody's fault for somebody to die by suicide. I believe that everyone should know that suicide is a um, very has such a stigma attached to it that people don't understand that about the darkness. People that have never suffered depression and anxiety feel like it's invisible. But imagine having this heavy invisible thing, this heavy weight inside of you that you think will never go away. And it's just like a permanent, it's a permanent, they think it's a permanent solution, but it's a temporary problem that they can get through. And once you lose somebody to suicide, you almost think like it's like a it's just you realize how not alone you are when you feel so alone. And there is so many people that have died by suicide that it's just incredible. And the more awareness we can spread, the better it will be for people to heal, and less people will choose this suddenly. You know, it's a sudden decision that people make, and there's no like, it's such an impactful decision. On the wave hits everybody, it ripples through the family, and it affects people that you don't even realize it affects. I've had so many people reach out to me, and even people ask me for help, and or how do they get help. And I was just trying to find different ways, different numbers, or who to call, and how do I help people that need help. Because one, awareness needs to be raised about suicide in general. And it's not selfish. It's not something that's like that. It's something that's very frowned upon, but death is frowned upon. Nobody wants anybody to die. I mean, it's very hurtful after you lose somebody to suicide when somebody jokes about, oh, I wish they would just go, and you know, and they say these things and it just hits like a dagger. And it's really hard to laugh things off, but socially acceptable comments are very hard when you've lost somebody to suicide. So one, it's best to have like something in your mind that's forgiving of those people that don't know how hard it is to lose somebody, and we wish that nobody ever has to lose anybody close to them to this. And just that the best advice is just like, he's not alone, and he can reach out and talk and contact me. There's a whole community of us that support each other, and we raise funds to raise awareness to help prevent suicide, because that's ultimately the goal, because it's preventable. And if we could just educate people on when you're starting to feel the darkness take over and you're starting to feel that sadness weigh too much on your soul, there's ways to get through it and coping mechanisms to reach out for help, even though you don't want to reach for anything and you just want to let it go. But there's always a way through it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Do you want to take a moment and address them? And I'll just let me pause the video for a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Hi guys, we're back. We had a little bit of an intermission. I'm going to call this hashtag single parent life. Last night I was on a coaching call and my kids were knocking down the door, even though they had everything they needed, like 3 different types of technology available to them, snacks galore. And Lauren is experiencing the same thing. And this is reality. This is real life. We're not going to edit this out because this is just one small, tiny example of some of the stuff that we deal with as single parents, and it definitely has its moments. So
Challenging.
Lauren definitely has its challenges, and I should have left it in here because Lauren dealt with her son, I mean, so beautifully. It's like so touching. And I told her that she's like my mommy idol because I would not have been able to be so patient and so kind. And Lauren, you're a wonderful mother. I've had the pleasure of meeting your beautiful children. They are so, so sweet and so caring. I mean, I literally love them. My kids ask me every single week, when are we having another play date? Because they just loved your kids. And I love the type of mommy that you are, because I feel like I lose it a lot more often than you do. So I'm going
I
to start.
I definitely lose it. Don't get it twisted.
I just don't see
We
it.
all have our moments.
You're my mommy idol. But yeah, so just getting back to everything that you've shared, thank you again for taking us on your journey. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you're doing right now, because you are doing some amazing things, and we're definitely going to be teaming up and collaborating in, many different ways, hopefully. Talk a little bit with us about some of the stuff that you're doing.
So in what I said earlier about how I'm trying to like raise funds and everything for suicide awareness. So I was looking for different ways to do that. And one of them kind of fell into my lap with my friend, was just like, listen, this would be a great gig for you to do. And it wound up being this One Hope Wine company that is, they are based out of Napa Valley, California, and they sell wines, and Mondavi, Robert Mondavi Jr. is involved with the company as well. And they're just excellent wines, and 10% of all the proceeds from each party that you do go towards a charity or foundation of your choice that's close to the host's heart. So of course, the one closest to my heart was American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And we were able to raise a lot of money for them through One Hope Wine. And it's just kind of like, sometimes it's just pennies here and there, but like you throw a penny in a fountain and it creates an impact. And you can watch the water ripple, and the penny falls to the ground and to the bottom of the fountain, and you just realize, you wonder how many pennies are in there. Like, but if everyone was to throw a penny in, it would collectively make such an impact on whatever charity or foundation it goes to. And that's kind of what One Hope does, where like every drop of wine that you pour into your cup, is also being poured into a foundation or a charity, because each bottle is assigned to a different charity or foundation. And then on top of it, they also donate 10% of the sales to a different charity when someone hosts a party. So it's pretty amazing. And I've been able to make an impact not only on the foundation closest to my heart, but foundations close to other people's hearts. That has just been, I found to be like very healing for me, to help others in that aspect, where like, if we drink wine anyway, sometimes just to get, the end of the night reward, to relax and wind down a little bit. And it just made sense to me that this was something to try. And I like to try new things, and because you never know what's going to fit into your puzzle. So this definitely fit into my puzzle, and my job working for the airlines always fit in my puzzle that I never even thought of, but 15 years now with the same company, and will never not be a part of my puzzle, but you're forever adding pieces, and this was one of them, and it just seemed to fit, and I'm enjoying it very much. And it's just another part of my journey, and I'm going to see how far I can go with it. And, and I'm also, I also invested in a cafe in Park Slope, Brooklyn, that I'm super excited about.
Me too.
It's going to be pretty amazing because that community alone is amazing, and there's a lot of great people that live over there, and it's in a residential area. And we're on Instagram. You can follow us. We're a Casita of BK, and it's just going to be like a Latin Greek cafe, and we're really excited about opening it next year. 2021 is going to be our year.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
something always have something to look forward to, but I'm always trying, new things. This is an exciting journey for me to, like I said, add to my puzzle, see what fits, and hopefully, you know, it just goes on from there, creating tiny little empires for my kids so that they can create their own puzzles as they grow up to figure out what they want, what pieces fit, what don't, just to give them options. But I'm always working and hustling over here trying to figure out, just to keep going, because some days you don't want to, and then other days you feel that drive and you just got to push yourself.
Love everything you're doing. I'm going to be hosting hopefully lots of wine parties to start with. We're going to be doing yoga and wine. So people, I'm putting it out there. 2021 is our year. I know that right now the situation with COVID is not amazing, but I know that we will get through this and things are going to start to decline in the spring, and hopefully by summer we'll be out of all of this. So I will be posting the link for your cafe along with this video, and I'm so excited. I cannot even tell you. We're going to hopefully be hosting some great empowerment events at your cafe. And I'm a Brooklyn girl. I'm a Brooklyn native. And up until now, other than my 91-year-old grandmother, God bless her, I haven't really had a reason to go to Brooklyn. But now I have a reason to come and visit, and I'm so excited. I love what you're doing. You are such a warrior and such a light. And if you choose to watch this video, you'll see the light that's emanating behind you, which is like amazing and really telling about who you are. You really are a light. Keep on shining. Keep on doing what you're doing. I will be here supporting you. I will be like a cheerleader. I'll be like supporting you in any way that I can. And hopefully we'll get to collaborate and do some really fun stuff together. You can't go wrong with the wine. So guys, if anybody wants to host a socially distanced event, please reach out to Lauren and inquire about the wines because they are fantastic. And Lauren, again, thank you so, so much for sharing your story. You are a wonderful human being and such a great mother. I am so inspired and motivated by you. And I'm sure that anybody and everybody who's going to watch this is going to feel exactly the same way. So I completely forgot that I should have poured myself some wine, but I'm going to have my kids come back in about half an hour. So maybe another time. But I'm toasting. Next time we're going to do that. I am toasting to 2021 being the most amazing, fulfilling, healing year for you, for all of our viewers, for anybody watching this. And thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for being part of the Empowered Humans Project.
Thank you for having me, Julia. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you so much to our viewers. If anybody would like to participate in these vlogs, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, guys. Bye. Have a good night.
Good night.